Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here, and we're doing another, actually we're back to Swiss Dragons of Tarkir drafting. Got Deathbringer Regent, 7 mana, 5/6 flying dragon, already good. Enters battlefield if you cast from your hand and there are 5 or more other creatures on the battlefield. Well, that seems a little bit too strong to pass up, huh? You play it, if there's enough creatures out, you get a board wipe and a 5/6 flyer. Yeah, we're going to take that. Passing pretty good cards, actually. I want Ultimate Price, which deals with Deathbringer Regent, sadly. Warbringer, Tarka Efreet are very good. But I would say a bomby finisher that wipes the board probably most of the time. I can't imagine a lot of times where you're at 7 mana and there's not 5, creatures on the board. It's other creatures on the board, so there has to be at least 6 total, including the Deathbringer Regent, but that's fine. We'll take it. Gotta give cards a try, right? Alright, so follow-up pick to Deathbringer Regent. Well, Foul Tongue Invocation versus Dutiful Attendant. Last time I took the Attendant over the Foul Tongue Invocation. But maybe this time I try the Invocation over the Attendant. I do already have a dragon to reveal. I just don't know how good sacrifice effects are yet. For 3, I mean, they're always fine, but 3 mana to sacrifice. Or would I rather have the Dutiful Attendant, which plays well synergistically with stuff like Blue-Black Exploit? I'd rather have the Attendant, but maybe I'd give Foul Tongue Invocation more of a try. It could be a better card than I'm giving it credit for. I'm sure there's times where it's terrible, but you can get some additional value off of it. Other than that, there's nothing insane here. Ojutai Summons is very good. But I don't want to branch out yet. I do want to make this Regent work, and Foul Tongue Invocation is actually a removal spell, so I'll take it. Little Mythic. Risen Executioner, 4 mana, 4/3. Can't block. Other zombies get buffed. You can cast it from your graveyard if you pay 1 more for each other creature card in your graveyard. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I think we're just going to take a Mythic. Not much to say there. Okay. So now we have, in black, we have a Butcher's Glee and a Coat with Venom. I was a big fan of the Coat with Venom. I think Butcher's Glee is very good too. What I like about Coat with Venom, of course, being that it's dirt cheap. 1 mana for a very strong combat trick. Butcher's Glee's got the lifelink, though, which is huge. I feel like Butcher's Glee is more game-changing than Coat with Venom. Coat with Venom is just more convenient to cast most of the time. I think I'm going to go with the Butcher's Glee. I am a big fan of Coat with Venom, though. I do like it a lot, but can't deny +3/+0 lifelink and regen. That's a lot of abilities mashed up into it, so a lot of versatility there. Okay, probably just taking Hand of Silumgar. There's a Drowner in here, which is very good. There's an Enduring Scale Lord, but that's a little off color. I kind of want to see what tables, see what's open, because I have no problems taking Hand of Silumgar here. I mean, Drowner, in a vacuum is a more powerful card than Silumgar, probably, but not powerful enough where I want to just branch into blue and pass up a 2/1 Death Touch for 2. So, let's take the Death Toucher. Okay, so now we're finally missing, so we can decide on a second color. It looks like green. I mean, green is clearly the open color in this pack. So we can take the green flyer. I'm not a huge fan of this cycle in general. I think the Hexproof and the Lifelink one are pretty good. The rest are pretty take it or leave it. Stampeding Elk Herd is fine, but I think it's easier to find 5-drops than it is to find cheaper creatures. But do I really want to take Glade Watcher here? I mean, it buys time reasonably well. Maybe I do just take the dragon. It's, I guess, more exciting than Glade Watcher. Stampeding Elk Herd might be a better card, but I think 5-drop spells, like I said, they're a little bit easier to come by from what I've seen. All right, we'll take the Scavenger here. I don't have a problem with that. It's not a great card, but There's nothing else in here that's super insane. Great Teacher's Degree is pretty good, but this does not look like a deck for it. And Kindled Fury's fine, but whatever. So the advantage of taking green and black would be Grim Contests out of the Fate Reforged pack. They typically table, and they're a pretty good removal spell. Alright, Savage Ventmaw went round and round, but I think we're just going to take Duress. It's a pretty main deckable card. Alright, Servant of the Scale. Still getting some pretty decent green picks here. Yeah, we'll take Display of Dominance as a sideboard option. It is non-creature permanent, so this is significantly worse than the rest of that cycle, but there's nothing else here I really want. I don't think I need an ancestral statue for anything, right? No, I don't think so. We'll take Display of Dominance for sideboard. All right. So we could technically main deck a Mind Rot. I usually don't, but maybe I leave the option there. Otherwise, I take a Naturalize for sideboard. Maybe I play a Mind Rot. I don't know. All right. Take a Violet Dragonfire. Pretty good white cards that tabled, honestly. But let's take Vial. Could end up playing it. Gate Smasher. We have a grand total of like 2 creatures. It's not much that work with it, but still, it's more exciting than Spider Silk Net. I don't know yet if I'm going to end up in blue yet, because, I mean, we're pretty light in green. I think the only color we've sort of established ourselves in is black, for good reason, because we've got some pretty good rares in it. Anafenza. No, we're not going to take Anafenza. So let's take a look at other options. So we've got this Salt Road Ambusher, 4 mana, 3/3. Whenever another permanent you control is turned face up, it's a creature. You get 2 counters. All right. Well, we only have a Herd Chaser Dragon that comes face up currently, but we could get some Manifest. Otherwise, there's Guardian Shield Bearer, another Butcher's Glee, Pinion Feast. Let's take the Ambusher. I'm cool with that. It's pretty good. All right. Well, some options. Silmgar Butcher, which I guess pairs well with like Executioner that you can get back. Or maybe a Servant of the Scales, not bad exploit fodder either. How good is Scaleguard Sentinel? So I currently only have 2 dragons. So it's a 2 mana 2/3 or a 2 mana 3/4 if I have a dragon. It's not bad. It's pretty good actually. But I still feel like I might want the Butcher. Is Butcher not that good? I feel like a 5 mana 3/3 that gets you potentially gets you a creature or value off a sacrifice effect is pretty good. But maybe just lowering the curve is a better idea, getting cheaper. I mean, it's pretty color intensive too. But we could get some more dragons as well, and a 2 mana 3/4 is a big threat. I do kind of like the Butcher though. I guess I'm going to take Butcher. It's pretty big upside to being able to kill things, I would say. All right, Deathwind. What's the Salt Road Quartermasters do? Enters the battlefield with 2+1/+1 counters on it. That would work pretty well with the Ambusher, I guess. No, that's only when it turns face up. Never mind. It is a 3 mana 3/3 though, which is pretty good. Plus, it's got like the combat trick aspect of it. That is good. I like that. I'm still going to take Deathwind though, because Deathwind's kill spell. It's a pretty good one too. So we'll take that. All right, Tread Upon. Also have Airy Bowmasters. Not really a Reckless Imp deck. I think we're just more of a green-black value deck. I think I'm going to take the Bowmasters over the Tread Upon. It's got better synergies with Salt Road Ambushers. And the Reach, the Surprise Reach is pretty good. I will admit it's pretty expensive Megamorph, but I mean, you can get a pretty good blowout. Keep in mind, when this Megamorph's up, it's a Dragon Eater all day. It's a 4/5, which is a big-time Dragon Eater. So we'll take it. I like it. All right. Options now are Coat with Venom versus Dragon Scarred Bear. So I'm kind of leaning towards the bear, but Venom is a nice combat trick. The reason I like the bear is I don't know how often I'm going to get Formidable, I guess. So it could be that the coat with Venom's just better because it's such a cheap combat trick, but I don't know, I've got high hopes for I just like getting cheap creatures. And Dragon Scarred Bear is a pretty reasonable one, so let's take it. I mean, being heavy on 2 and 3 drop creatures typically is seldom an issue. Tredapon's a pretty good pickup here. I haven't gotten a chance to play it much yet, but I played against it. And it's a good combat trick for sure. All right, there is Deadly Wanderings, but I don't think this is a Deadly Wanderings deck. I'd rather have a high creature count than a low creature count with Deadly Wanderings. I do think Deadly Wanderings is a good spell, and someone's definitely single-handedly beaten me with Deadly Wanderings, but I'd rather just get high value, high impact spells like Marsh Hulk and find some more cheap game to do. How good is Inspiring Call in here? Currently have 1, potentially 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 things. I mean, I don't know what else I'm taking here anyway, so why not? I don't think we're likely to play it yet, but if we find more stuff, I guess I can. All right, Guardian Shield Bear is actually a pretty nice pickup here. Okay, Glade Watcher is going to be fine. It's going to pair well with our bear, and it just gives us early protection because we look like we have a pretty reasonable late game plan with all of these morphing guys. Okay, Pinion Feast is probably main deckable. It doesn't appear that we're going to have to main deck it because we've already got a ton of playables, but I'm going to leave the option there. All right, you know what? I'm actually willing to play double Treadupon. I'm not opposed to that. I guess we'll cut green and just take the Revealing Wind. We're not in red. I'm going to let someone have Magmatic Chasm. Not a very popular red spell, so maybe it doesn't signal that well, but when you're not in a color, I find it's best to feed other players that color, so you end up with more colors or more cards in your color. All right, so this has a Grim Contest in it, which I think we'll likely be able to table. I'm trying to think how good Grim Contest is in our deck, though. I guess it's only okay. We don't have a ton of high toughness guys till later. I think as of now, I probably don't want to main deck Mind Rot. I'm not. I don't hate Mind Rot, but I'm just not the biggest fan. It's probably a better sideboard card. All right. Tempted to just take Reach of Shadows, get another solid removal spell. We have 13 creatures currently, so I feel like we'll be able to end up with enough creatures. And I'd kind of like to upgrade my removal a little bit anyway. Like, I'd rather run Treadupon than Vials, just because the trample is a little more exciting. There is a Sultai Emissary, but I don't have a ton of exploit. I only have Silumgar Butcher. I guess it still kind of pairs well with Deathbringer Regent, too. But, I mean, Reach is just better. And I think that's, like, the only choices. I think Reach, and we're likely just going to table Grim Contest and take that. Although, like I said, Grim Contest currently not, like, insane in this deck. Alright, I can take Douse and Gloom. I think I probably do. There's a Karsi High Priest, which I guess technically works well with, I don't know, maybe Risen Executioner. Keep spitting out 2/2s. Einok Guide is fine. It's just a 2-drop creature. Nothing too special. Douse and Gloom is just cheap removal that I think we want, so I'll take that. Okay, I think I probably want the Angler. Otherwise, I mean, Cash Defenses is fine too, but I actually like the Angler quite a bit. Let's cut, I think, let's start deciding on some upgrades. Inspiring Call, how many things do I have for that again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I do have 8 things for it, which is not terrible, but it's still just a little bit too situational for my liking. So let's take the Gurmag Angler here, though, pretty easily. I am a big Angler fan. All right, so there's, geez, Dragon Scale General. The card's good. There's a Feral Crew Shock here, which I think is probably the pick for us. And I probably cut like a Vial for it or a Duress. But Vial's probably worse than Duress, I think. Vial's not bad. I played it quite a bit in the beginning, and it's not like you don't kill things with it. It is just a little bit clunkier than you want, and it really just feels like our mana is going to be busy. So I'd rather just get some fat out there. How good's Grave Strength in here? I mean, we have a decent creature count, so it's probably reasonable, but that's all right. I think we just take a guide in case I need some lands. And I probably, at this point, I can cut a Tread Upon or I can cut a Duress for it. I still think we're likely just a 17 land deck. We're definitely taking Guide here just to get a 2-drop. I probably want to cut the Duress. Duress is like a really good sideboard card in my opinion. But I don't necessarily want to main deck it, in case I go up against like a dash deck or something. I can take Formless Nurturing. The question is, do I need it? It does. I guess it's another card that's going to work well with Inspiring Call, but still probably not playing Inspiring Call. I have a lot of Megamorph guys, which would be pretty good to manifest. I'm likely not gonna play Formless Nurturing. I might just want to hate the most annoying card in here, which I think is actually Mardu Woe Reaper for the aggressive decks. I want to slow down aggression. I think I'm just gonna hate pick here because I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna play. I don't think I'm gonna end up playing it. Is basically what I'm trying to say. So I could take Fearsome Awakening. I do have a couple dragons, but I don't think that's likely to make the deck either. I mean, you can res anything with it, which is good, but it's only from your graveyard, which is kind of unfortunate. Maybe I just take it anyway as a sideboard option against heavy removal decks. It's not bad, I guess. Otherwise, what? I'm just hating like a Will the Naga. I'll take a Fearsome Awakening for sideboard. There's a chance. All right, Ruthless Instincts is a great combat trick. I would easily say that's better than Tread Upon. So I can probably cut a Tread Upon for a Ruthless Instincts and be satisfied with that. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. All right, Table and Emissary and the Grim Contest. Here's the problem with Grim Contest in the deck. It's not that good. It works well with Glade Watcher. Works okay with Hand of Silumgar, but you still end up 2-for-1ing yourself. I mean, it works fine if all of these guys were unmorphed, but that's going to be a while. It's okay with Executioner. It's only okay with everything, which is why I don't like it that much. I'd rather just have a 2-drop that buys me a chump block and works reasonably well with Exploit. Out of all these cards, I don't really care about too many of them. I guess I'll hate an Ambush maybe. Not a lot of blue-green decks out there though. But I don't really care if my opponent plays Shifting Loyalties either. I think I'm just going to hate an Ambush, I guess. So Sultai Runemark, I mean, technically works in this deck. It's just not that interested in it. I think we'll hate the Rite of Undoing, which is actually just straight up a good card. Pressure Point can certainly be annoying. So cut that. Sudden Reclamation. I think we'll hate the... Actually, Warflare could be brutal. I mean, granted, there's only a couple picks left that could use it, but Warflare can be very brutal. All right, I guess Host is more playable than that other thing. Okay, so we have a good deck, actually. I like our removal as well as our finishers. This is, I mean, this isn't like a bonkers deck, but it's certainly a satisfactory deck. Um, and we only have to make one cut. I think I'm still going to place... Well, actually, why don't we leave it how they had it, just so I can see what all my hard cast spells look like. My curve's still not bad, even if I were to hard cast all of my Megamorph guys. I still don't think our curve's that bad. I don't. I think it's fine, actually. So I could cut a creature. I think I probably do, because my removal is pretty good. I like the Tread Upon, the Instincts. I actually like Butcher's Glee a lot in a black-green deck, because with green, you've got some high power creatures, like high power for cost creatures like Feral Krushock and stuff like that. So I think we can get formidable, a reasonable amount of the time. All right, let's move stuff to Megamorph now. I guess I'm comfortable with the curve of our deck, whether morphed or unmorphed. And I just probably cut a creature. Maybe the Ionok Guide. Actually, let me do one more count for Inspiring Call, just when all is said and done, just so we can take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Guess it's just 8. All right, that's not enough. I mean, I could probably get away with it, but I'm not going to do it. It's just a bit too situational for my liking. And do I have any other form of card advantage in here? I guess not. But as like a bonus, like the nice aspects of this deck are, despite not having like card draw, I've got so many things I can tie my mana up in. That's kind of what I like. Just a lot of things I can put my mana into. So how good is Scavenger? I've played against it, and I always think it's okay, but nothing like crazy. I guess it does pair well with Servant to the Scale. The reason I kind of want to run Ionok Guide in here is if I'm mana light, Ionok Guide is actually nice for, finding the next land that you need. I don't want to run 18 lands here. I think the format's very much less 18 lands now than before. I mean, granted, we've got some Megamorphs that are going to require 7 mana, but I can also hard cast these at 6, which is fine. And so what am I cutting? I could cut a Servant to the Scale, which most of the time is just going to be a 1-mana 1/1 that maybe, buffs a different guy. But it's never like insane. And I certainly like Emissary more than it. I would rather get a 2/2 than get a +1/+1 counter. I mean, yeah, it's got synergies with Shield Bearer, I guess. I just don't want to cut any of my spells. I kind of like them all. They all seem to have their purpose. I could cut the Sandstep Scavenger because it's expensive. It's not even that great, right? I mean, what are you really getting out of it? You're getting a 5 mana. You're getting 4 power, 4 toughness out of 5 mana, but it's split up potentially. That's not even that good for green. It really isn't. It's not that insane. And I don't have any like fight cards, so it's not like I need one big fat creature. I mean, it's kind of nice that it like divvies it up for you, but I feel like I have enough late game. I don't need this Scavenger. I kind of just need to fill my board early, do stuff that way. Okay, I think, you know what actually has some good synergy, surprisingly, is Risen Executioner and Gurmag Angler, or Delve in general, because you just delve away all the other creatures, except your Executioner, and then you can cast Executioner pretty cheap. I should, I guess, point out that Risen Executioner is a zombie lord, so that it works well with Emissary and Angler, for that matter, and Butcher, and Marsh Hulk. Look at that. We got Zombie Tribal going. That's pretty cool. All right, yeah, I mean, this deck's pretty good. Like I said, not bad, nothing crazy. Certainly not the best deck I've drafted, certainly not the worst. 9-8. Yeah, I probably can get behind that. I don't see why not. Looks like we have more black than green, so can go on that side. So now for the rating. What do I want to rate this deck as? I want to rate it reasonably well. We've got, like I said, pretty decent removal. Got some big ol' finishers in Deathbringer Regent. And we have plenty of ways to finish the game. There's no question. Plenty of ways to beat an opponent with just the sheer quantity of Megamorph that we have, which is actually, how many do we have? We've got Shield Bearer, Bowmaster, 3, 4, 5. I felt like we had another one, but maybe not. Well, 5's pretty reasonable. They're all pretty good. And so this deck's got enough ways to win in terms of finishers. We've got enough combat tricks. We have enough pieces of removal. So there is no actual shortcoming to this deck. So I think a static little 7. The reason I'm not rating it higher than that is it doesn't look like our game plan is much beyond win in the mid game. So we're not like a solid aggro deck, and we're not a solid control deck. We're pretty much just like a win through value in the mid game, find good opportunities to play combat tricks and removal, and win through more powerful creatures, which I've found is not always the most consistent and successful strategy. Like with aggro decks, it's always pretty clear what you're doing. Sometimes with these mid-range decks, it's not always clear what you're doing. Sometimes you're like, it's tough to know whether you have to be the. Sometimes there's board states where it's like, am I supposed to be going for the kill here, or am I in defense mode until I've, developed enough board where I'm ready to kill my opponent? So that's where some confusion with decks like this can come into play, but that's not a major concern. So gonna try it like this, and yeah, 7 out of 10, and we'll see you round 1.